Mm.
Arapin, I'm doing a crown tattoo, man. Guys, if you just tuned in, welcome to my life. I'm busy with a crown tattoo. Comment where are you guys are watching me from? New Zealand, Auckland, Australia. Just comment below. Also, you guys can support me by sending super chats.
No kuts of. Sok no avispar Jeffrey by. Frida. Ay bom squad bier van ay bom game banam bier.
Okay.
Alat mo ay patla nang.
Vamos goed bezig, man.
Ay bier kan kwai peru dan kan ini set kwai di sit Amerikaner kan om kuap.
Ja, nee. Die boertjes. Alle boeren. Anyways, dan van die blankes. Hulle like sulke goede. Drinkers.
Ja.
Energy drink, hulle sien sulke wat koop. En is nice man. Om die mense te kan support. Ons gaan die mense rock. Sy rock. Support pap baby. En as vinnig om so iets te staat soos hy. Bedoel soos hoe ons daar hoe word se melk, hoe ons daar is ja. Sien. Soos ek kry vir SAB. Quentin se van die lessons aan. En dan noem ons hom maar by ons kwad. Sien. Sela kaas wat hier. Jy sê kom in hey bro nice.
Dat is net die naam.
Heel naam.
Hij is nog een goede naam, maar hij bom squad.
Ja. Maar as ware te ding is, ek luister een guy, die sê is een idee weg om 'n miljonair te kan raak.
Dit is.
Is maar daai idee nog gekom by jou nie oor. Sien soos hy. Moletu, good day, how are you doing? This is not a leg, this is let's say, the China vrouw zo arm. His mom is Asian. Mensen kunnen hem eens eindalen op YouTube, mijn bro. Ik word genaamd, ik is een zwak artist. Je gaat die mensen infect met die naden die ik gebruik. En die papieren die ik afgeef. Hoe ga je mijn kritiek krijgen?
Dat is...
Dat is mijn hoed, het zijn met die.
Ja, man.
Molete, how are you doing, bro? 7277, good day. How are you guys doing?
Careful note. Emotions are tricky. They can go either way on you. Emotions can build or destroy, weaken or strengthen, make or break. It all depends on how you use them. We call civilization the intelligent management of human emotions. That's it. The power, given an intelligent direction and objective, can accomplish spectacular things. The power, the feelings, those surges of heart and soul. What can they do? Well, here are some. Let me just quickly give you a list of 4 emotions that can change your life in one day. Emotions are powerful. Sometimes it doesn't take much to alter your whole life direction. Okay, here they are. Number 1, disgust. Powerful emotion. Disgust says, I have had it. See, that should be the day. The day you can say, I've had it. And whether you had it was something small or something major, the day you can say, I've had it. May not be the day it ends, but the day it begins. That's what I said when that little Girl Scout left my door when I'm 25. I give her the big lie, she leaves, I say, I don't want to live like this. I've had it with lions and she is crook. Powerful day. The man finally had it with mediocrity. He's had it with being a loser. He finally had it with those awful sick feelings inside, knowing his wife is at the grocery store, looking at 2 cans of beans, one marked 37 cents, one marked 39 cents. And the guy sick inside knows his wife's going to buy the 37-cent can, and she doesn't even like the brand. You know why she's going to buy the 37-cent can? To save 2 cents. The guy sick inside finally says, I've had it. Being on my knees in the dust looking for pennies? We're not living like this anymore. Could be the day to turn your life around. But you can say, I've had it. He walks into his closet and rips everything in it to shreds and says, I've worn this embarrassing stuff for the last. And not only will I never wear it again, no one else will ever wear it. Commit an act that says, I've had it. Oh. Here's the next one. Decision. And decision making is powerful. And it's emotional. That's those knots in the pit of your stomach, right? Waking up in the middle of the night in the cold sweat, fine. We sometimes call it inner civil war. What shall I do? Well, For progress, you must speak up. The best advice I came from a wealthy friend of mine who said, if it's easy, do it easy. If it's hard, do it hard. Just get it done. If you went home tonight and in the next few days cleaned up a whole list of decisions, that might furnish enough inspiration for the next 10 years. I found this out many times after you've decided getting on with it is easier than deciding. Sometimes decision is the best. Here's the next emotion, desire, wanting to bad enough. And I don't know how to tell you to want to, that's something you've got to come up with. There's two things I know about desire. Number one, it comes from inside, not outside. You don't send off for it. Number two, I know desire can be triggered by something. Who knows what it might be? Sometimes desire waits and sleeps for something to happen. Maybe it's a book, maybe it's a song, maybe it's a sermon, maybe it's a lecture, a seminar, maybe it's the conversation of a friend, a happening, an event. Who knows? The best advice I can give you is what I give my staff. It goes like this: welcome every human experience. You never know which one is going to turn it all on. Even the bad experience. Sometimes from the bitterest experience comes the greatest awakening. So let down the barrier, take down the wall. The same wall that keeps out disappointment keeps out happiness. Let life touch you. Don't let it kill you, but let it touch you. Here's the last one. This one's powerful. Resolve. Resolve says I will. Two of the most powerful words in the language. I will. Benjamin Disraeli once said, nothing can resist a human will that will stake even its existence on the extent of its purpose. Shortly put, I'll do it or die. See, that's powerful. That could be the day that turns your life around. The world has a strange way of stepping aside when somebody says, I'll do it or die. The man says, I will climb the mountain. They've told me it's too high, it's too far, it's too steep, it's too rocky, it's too difficult. But it's my mountain. I will climb it. Pretty soon you will see me waving from the top or dead on the side because I'm not coming back. Hey, that's powerful. Time and fate and circumstance call a hasty conference, and they all agree. We might as well let John have it. He says he's going to get it or die. Wow, that's it. Resolve. The best definition of resolve I ever heard was from a junior high girl in Foster City, California. I'm talking to the junior high kids, and I asked the question, who can tell me what resolve means? I got several hands. Some were pretty good, but the last one was the best. She said, I think resolve means promising yourself you will never give up. I said, that's it. Best I've heard. Promise yourself you will never give up. I asked the kids, how long should a baby try to learn how to walk? How long would you give the average baby before you shut him off? You say that's crazy. Any mother in the world would say my baby is going to keep trying until it learns how to walk. No wonder almost everyone walks. What a magic formula. The until formula. Good question. How long are you going to work to make your dreams of wealth and happiness come true? I suggest the until formula. It's the best. Emotion, disgust, decision, desire, resolve. Why postpone your better future any longer? Get at it today. Get some new books, make a new plan, set a new goal. Ask some new questions, lock onto a new resolve, make a new effort, and do it all now. So if I had a word with you tonight, one-on-one, just you and me, I think my personal advice to you would be, this year 1981, reach down inside of you and But come up with some more of those remarkable human gifts. They're there, waiting to be utilized. And then change anything for you want to change. And I challenge you to do that because you can change. If you don't like how it is for you, change it. If it doesn't suit you, change it. If it doesn't please you, change it. If it isn't enough, change it. And I challenge you to do that because you can change. See, you don't ever have to be the same again after tonight, only by choice. If you don't like your present address, change it. You're not free. What did you make yourself do starting tomorrow that will change it all? No! Well, now see, that's exciting. On any given day, you can massively change the direction of your life. Murder is a clear example that any one person on any given day can forever alter the course of their life. It just happens to be a negative act. But just as sure as you can commit a negative act, you can also commit a positive act and forever alter your life. Whenever you wish. Now that's exciting. And whatever that act might be that changes your life. The guy finally takes a shotgun to his car and blows out every window, destroys every tire, puts 100 rounds in this shabby old thing. And he says, I have driven this embarrassing thing for the last time. And not only will I never drive it again, nobody else will ever drive it again. And he lets that shuddering thing stand there for a while to the day he said, the day my life changes. Now who can do that? Anybody. When can you do it? Whatever day you pick. Do something different the next 90 days than you did the last 90 days. Like picking up the books to read. Do something different like the new health. Discipline. Relationship with your family. Whatever it is, doesn't matter how small it is. You'll start doing different things with the same circumstance. You cannot change the circumstance, but we can change ourselves. We can change what we do. Then he gave me another secret to success when he said, what you have at the moment, Mr. Rohn, you've attracted by the person you've become. What you have at the moment, you've attracted by the person you've become. Few little simple principles here. Once you understand these, it starts displaying so much. Now, sometimes it's a little tough to take, blaming yourself instead of the marketplace. Taking responsibility, putting it off on someone else. So that transition sometimes is a challenging mission. And this one was a little tough for me. Because you've got pennies in your pocket, you've got nothing in the bank, the creditors are calling, you're behind on your promises. He says, here's how that occurs. You've attracted, up until now, you've attracted the things to you because of the person you've become. Now I said, well, how can I change all that? He said, very simple. If you will change, everything will change. You don't have to change what's outside. All you've got to change is what's inside. To have more, you simply have to become more. And then he said, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. Start working on yourself, making these personal changes. And he said, it'll all change. So here's the secret, Mr. Rohn. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Once I got that, it turned my life around. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. He said, if you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. If you would have known me at age 25, you would have said, Jim Rohn's a hard worker. If you'd have known me, you'd have said that. I'm the guy, I don't mind coming a little bit early, a little bit late, I don't mind that. You'd have said, well, Jim Rohn's a hard worker. You say, well, how come he's got pennies in his pocket and nothing in his bank and behind on his promises? Well, I was a hard worker, but I was working hard on my job, not on myself. I'm telling you, if you'll learn that simple little principle and start the process today, latest tomorrow, give you some nice food. And start this whole process of personal development. Work on yourself. Make yourself more valuable to the marketplace. I'm telling you, you can so dynamically change your income. And economics is the least of the values that you can start earning in terms of equity. If you'll start working harder on yourself than you do on yourself. Work hard on what the truth. Work hard on yourself and develop the ability. All of the stuff necessary to become more valuable to the marketplace. I'm telling you, your whole life can explode in this. Promotion, no problem. Becoming more valuable to the company, certainly no problem. Money, no problem. Economics, no problem. Future, no problem. You just go to work on the right thing. Not get things there to change. Don't try to change the seed. Don't change the soil. Don't change the sunshine. Don't change the rain. Don't change the mix of seed. Let the miracle of everything that's available work for you. And start working on the inside. Work on your philosophy. Work on your attitude. Work on your personality. Work on your language. Work on the gift of communication. Work on all of your abilities. And if you'll start making those personal changes, I'm telling you, everything will change. Mr. Shope, over a 5-year period before he died at age 49, he taught me some extraordinarily simple things. He only went to the 9th grade school. Never finished high school, never went to college, never went to university. So he put his ideas and his experiences in very simple language, which I think for me, a kid from the farms of Idaho, that simplicity was so important. Because if it would have been technical, I'd have missed it. If it would have been mystic, I would have given it back away. But it was just basic, blunt, ABC, familiar stuff that I haven't thought of before. And just start to remind me when those ideas came. Mr. Shope was the one when I said, this is all they pay. He said, you've been working 6 years, Mr. Owen, how come you're not doing better? And I said, this is all the company pays. He said, well, that's not true. I said, no, this is not true. This is all the company pays. He said, no, this is all the company pays you. I thought, that's a new way to look at it, right? He said, doesn't the company pay 2, 3, 4, 5 times this amount to other people? I said, well, yes. He said, well, then this is not all the company pays. It's all they pay you. And if you qualified, wouldn't your income go 2, 3, 4, 5 times? I suppose. So he said, we don't have to work on the company. We have to work on you. See, that was the beginning of what he called the phrase personal development. I told him things cost too much. He said, no, you can't afford them. So well, that's a new concept. I hadn't thought about it. We put some of the valuable things on the high shelf, so you can't get to them until you qualify. If you want the things on the higher shelf, you got to spend on the book you read. Every book you read, you get to spend a little higher so you can get the things on the higher shelf. See, I learned those concepts. It was so incredible. And here was the most important one. Success is something you attract by the person you become. See, that phrase changed my life. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Success is not something you pursue. Like chasing a butterfly, you can't quite catch it. Success is something you attract by becoming an attractive person. See, those were new concepts. I'm just working hard trying to make a living. Here's what he said to me. This changed my life. I got a chance to teach this in Moscow and across Russia, 3 visits now before. Here's what Shope taught me. Profits are better than wages. Nobody taught me that in high school. Nobody taught me that. I went to 1 year of college. Nobody taught me that. Profits are better than wages. Wages make you a living. Profits make you a fortune. And how could you work on both a living and a fortune? He said, well, you could start part-time working on your fortune while you're working full-time on your living. I thought, now he said it's fun to get up in the morning. Not just getting up to go to work to make a living. But to get up to go to work to make a fortune. First to make a living, second to make a fortune. And he taught me how to make a living and a fortune. Guess what I did? I learned living on a fortune. And I found out anybody could do it once they get the information. And at age 25, I started receiving this extraordinary opportunity. Here's what he said, your income is directly related to your philosophy, not to your income. I thought, no one ever told me. I kept hoping the economy would change. He said, no, your philosophy has to change. I assured him that I had my fingers crossed. He said, that won't help. Then what could I do to change my income and multiply by 2 by 3 by 5 by 10, and then multiply by 10 again? What could I do? And he started giving me the disciplines and the process of learning skills to change my life. This was an extraordinary man. Those were extraordinary times for me. Life-changing in every manner that you can imagine. But very simple ABC concept. Here's what I learned. Not to search for the exotic until you discover the basic. And those basic philosophies that he shared with me during this time were life-changing. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Success is not something you pursue, chase, run after. Success is something you develop, something you become. You attract success. So the whole key to unlock all the treasures, whether it's economic treasures or spiritual treasures, financial, social, personal, every way you can possibly think of, is by your own personal development. Then he added one more, which is so important, and it's probably worth the price of the seminar. Here it is. What you become is much more valuable than what you get. What you become is much more valuable than what you get. The major question to ask on the job is not what am I getting here. The major question to ask on the job is what am I becoming here. Not what am I getting, what am I becoming. So it's very important what you become. Because what you become attracts. You become cynical, you attract cynicism. What you become attracts. So this whole subject of personal development is so vitally important. It changed my life. I was a millionaire by age 30. And that was just the first part. It took me 6 years to make 25 days. It was unbelievable. Remember, be a student, not a follower. And here's what you must always do. Design your own personal life. I'm very happy for people who know this is not, but I'm also just as happy if somebody says, hey, this is not for me. Tear up all these notes and throw them away. Remember, be no one's disciple. Chart your own course. Make what you do the product of your own conclusion. What I'm saying here is be your own person. You don't have to be a model of someone else. You don't have to do it like anybody else. Right? Do it like yourself. Buy what you want to buy. Listen to what you want to listen to. Make changes if you want to make changes. And don't make changes. Right? It's your life. I'm telling you. But don't let anybody persuade you any different. Success is not a stereotype. Success is not a Ferrari. Success is not an automobile. It's not a house. It's not a place. It's not money in the bank. It's not $1 million. That's not success. Success is the continual unfolding of the design of your own life and pulling it off. That's what success is. The continual unfolding of the design of your own personal life and pulling it off in whatever degree you wish. That is success. Successful in doing whatever you want to do that makes sense to you, for you, your family, your responsibilities. To take on responsibilities or refuse responsibilities. That's strictly all up to you. You've been given the power of choice. Every life form except human beings operates by instinct in the genetic code. Now, why not human beings? Because, here it is, we've been given the dignity of choice. We're not like a robot. We're not stuck like a tree, using up all the nourishment, nothing left, now you die because you can't change location. Not true. Humans can go north, south, east, west. Humans can change, do anything they want to do. We've been given the dignity. But here's what's interesting about all life form except humans. Every life form except humans strives to the max of its potential. How tall will a tree grow? As tall as it possibly can. You never heard of a tree growing half as high as it could. No, that is impossible. A tree grows as high as it can, drives down every root it can, produces every root it can, extends itself as far as it possibly can. Every life form extends to the max, except human beings. Now, why not human beings? Because we're not robots. We've been given the dignity of choice. And here's a couple of alternatives on the dignity of choice. To be part of or all of. You have the potential to be. And you've got the choice. Do a little to make yourself comfortable and forget the rest, or do it all. And there's nobody here to dictate you've got to do it all. That's nonsense. You've got to be rich because we live in a rich country. That's nonsense. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to do it all. You can do a little, do some, do some more. Take advice, but don't take orders. Take information, take training, take teaching, but don't take orders from no one that tells you how you need to live and what you need to own and what you need to do. And he says, well, you need to be successful. That's a personal choice, being successful. What we teach is the possibilities, and everybody chooses. Take a little, take a lot, do some, do nothing. Abraham Lincoln said, since I would be no one's slave, I will be no one's master. Excellent philosophy. If a guy says, hey, I'm soon Texas in, I'm heading to the mountains, I'm going to live in a little cabin, live off the land, and feed with squirrels. If he goes and does that, guess what? He's a smashing success. Why? He's doing what he designed to do and went and did it. He pulled it off. You can't say, no, that's not successful. That is the epitome of success, is giving a design to your life and go pull it off, making progress in that direction that satisfies you. If it doesn't satisfy you, make alternatives and you change. And if you get some better ideas, sure, you may follow someone's suggestion and ideas, but not orders. Design your own life like you want it that will fit. Now, if you take on some responsibilities, you have to consider those. Yes, you can ignore your responsibilities, but you won't feel good about that. Guess what the old prophet said? Some things that taste good now in the mouth turn bitter later in the belly. So you don't want to sacrifice. We all must suffer one of two things. Regardless of your choice of lifestyle and what you want to do, we must all suffer one of two things. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And what we suggest to everybody is to consider the discipline, because disciplines weigh ounces, regrets weigh tons. You don't want to substitute a discipline for a regret. In our opinion, that would be a poor choice. Now, you can do it. Some things are poor trade-offs. Joe Cox said, what if you gained the whole world but it cost you your soul? Would that be worth it? With a bit of intelligence, we say, no, that doesn't seem worth it. Even if you got the whole world and you traded your soul, that experience would be so bitter and so awful and so devastating, would be worth it. What if you got some gain by greed instead of legitimate ambition? I'm telling you, it might taste good up front, but it's going to turn bitter in the belly. And a bit of that advice saves some people from devastation. Say, well, you're right, I better think twice about that. So we must confront all laws, spiritual laws, agricultural laws, basic laws, fundamental laws. We must confront all of those. But you still now can design your own life. A little, a lot, go east, north, south. Success is an accomplishment, whether it be great or small. And it's an understanding of the potential and power of an entire human life. Success is an awareness of value, and it's the cultivation of value through discipline. It can be tangible or intangible. Success is a process of turning away from something in order to turn towards something else. From no exercise to exercise, from candy to fruit, from not investing to investing. Success is responding to an invitation to change, to grow, to develop, to become, to move up to a better place with a better vantage point. But most of all, success is making your life what you want it to be. Considering all the possibilities, considering all the examples. What do you want for your life? That is the big question. Remember, success is not a set of standards from our culture, but rather a collection of personal values, clearly defined and ultimately achieved. I learned the law of sowing and reaping. And in the law of sowing and reaping is also the story of the law of averages. Got this down. The story of the sower comes from the Bible. And the name is in the Bible, but this is such a useful story. Here's what the story says. In Take the notes because the drama's in the detail. The sower was ambitious. Evidently he was ambitious. When you read the whole story, you conclude, yes, this is an ambitious sower. Here was number 2. He had excellent seed. The sower who sowed the seed has excellent seed. And the excellent seed could be an excellent opportunity, an excellent product, an excellent seed. So we've got an ambitious sower with excellent seed. But now here's the rest of the details of the story. For your information, for the drama of your life, so you can understand things better. Learning some of this is how I got written by age 30. Number 1, it says the sower goes out to sow the seed, but the first part of the seed falls by the wayside and the birds get it. So jot this down. The birds are going to get some of the seed. The birds are going to get some of the seed. Now you say, what does that mean? Well, I invite John to come to a meeting. He said he'd be there Tuesday night. Tuesday night I show up, John isn't there. I say, John, I wonder why John didn't make it. Now I know the answer. The birds. The birds. John had this great idea of coming to the meeting to look at an opportunity, and somebody stole it. And said, you're not going to go see Network 1. And he said, well, maybe not. So have you got that now? The birds are going to get it. Now when the bird gets them, you've got food. Number 1 is to chase birds. And say, well, let me get a hold of the person that talked him out of coming to the meeting. I'll carry him in your case. But I wouldn't do this. Here's what happens if you go chasing birds. You leave the field. If you go chasing birds now, you leave the field, which is going to distract from your future, not add. So you can't chase birds and try to straighten the stuff out. Here's what it is. It's just one of those things. And here's the best comment when things are a little disappointing. Isn't that interesting? You just have to, I thought sure it would be a promise. But I know it was the truth. And you just have to say, isn't that interesting?
Philosophy. Philosophy is the chief cornerstone and the foundation of the 5 major pieces to the life puzzle. A major factor in determining how our lives turn out is the way we choose to think. Everything that goes on inside the human mind in the form of thoughts, ideas, and information forms our personal philosophy. Our philosophy then influences our habits and behavior, and this is really where it all begins. How our personal philosophy is formed. Our personal philosophy comes from what we know and from the process of how we
Manaf,
came
that's
to
it, what
know
about you?
all that we currently know.
Lieflijk man, gewoon kom klaar maken hoor. En die werkt nog.
What we know comes from school, friends, associates, media influences, home, the streets. It comes from books and the process of reading, and it comes from listening and observing. The sources of knowledge and information that have contributed to the formation of our current philosophy are virtually unlimited. As adults, all of the new information that comes our way is examined through the filter of our personal philosophy. Those concepts that seem to agree with the conclusions we have already reached are added to our storehouse of knowledge and serve to reinforce our current thinking. Those ideas that seem to contradict our beliefs are usually quickly rejected. We are constantly in the process of checking our pre-existing beliefs for accuracy or confirmation in the light of new information. As we blend the new with the old, the result is either the strengthening of our past beliefs or the broadening of our current philosophy in light of new and valuable information about life and people. The same beliefs that form our personal philosophy also determine our value systems.
You know, the people you surround yourself with have a phenomenal impact on your life. I think it was Carl Menninger from the Menninger Foundation one time said, environment is more important than heredity. The people we're surrounded by have a greater bearing on our life and our success in life than what's built into the genes at birth. There's genetic conditioning, there's environmental conditioning, Well, this environmental condition goes on all the way through life. You will find as you improve the quality of your life, improve your thinking, you can attract a different group of people into your life. And they are going to add to your life. See, the people we're surrounded by, their thinking is going right into our mind. We want to mix with people who are really making it happen. Take a look at the 5 people that you're with most often. And ask yourself, if I have children, would I want them to grow up being like that? The answer is no. You better start looking for you. If the answer is yes, you're already in the right circle of people. Think about what I'm saying. The people we're surrounded with have a phenomenal impact on our life. Help me succeed. And the majority of the fears that we have are not life or death fears.
Als het iets groeit waar je bij om moet doen.
But through our imagination,
Je kan maar almost doen wanneer mensen op land.
Ja, nou.
and we give them more power than they actually
Ja, niks
have
zit in
or
de
deserve, and we permit them to govern our lives. We permit them to determine how far we can stretch out on our dreams and discovering our stuff. And as we begin to look at ourselves and begin to wait a minute, just getting to the point as you assess and begin to prove yourself that yes, it is. Hold a minute. I've been sweating this out. What's the worst thing that can happen to me? Will it kill me? Will I die? Why am I going through all of these changes over this? How much power does this really have? And am I the one that's feeding the power into it? See, a lot of times we allow ourselves to be fed and to be programmed into being afraid. I mean, you watch the news and read the newspaper, you'd be scared to come out the house. Am I right?
What's his name, Marcy?
You'd be afraid.
Kara.
So what kinds of thoughts are you feeding your consciousness? What kind of things are you putting in your mind that will enable you to either move forward or to justify why you stay where you are? I said I look at that when I finally decided that I was going to go to the dentist. Pain was so great. I couldn't hold out anymore.
Je ziet het dus, ik heb nog maar één ietsje gekregen, maar ik is niet. Net die vorige vrouw wat ek seker so 10 jaar terug, my lyte ek nie vrou gevoel wat baie mooier. En hierdie ding op my arm het ek vryhand gedoen, maar ek het toe maar weer teruggegaan en dat ek nou strong aangegaan. So ek wil nou eintlik weet op die tyd dat ek cover-up doen op die naam, ek weet nie of jy nou gaan 'n cover-up kan doen. En dan wil ik graag een ding op mijn arm klaar maken.
Bud became ill. How many of you ever seen the best film? Yeah, I know. All right. Bud became ill, passed out, and I was there. The doctor was talking to him. And so I think we're going to go right back to the same old eating habits and doing everything. You know, so look here. You are a diabetic. He said, now here's some of the side effects. You know, you go blind, you got apathy, none of that. Touched it. He said, you can become a he said, what did you say? Rod has lost weight. He exercises every day. He's in a body sculpture. 48 years young. He was
Het was nog een lang besluit en vraag van die dochtertje, waar moet ik het heen?
Made all of the difference in the world. What is a new man today?
Lang terug het ek sê happy met die laatste naam, dit is nie mooi nie. Ja, dan ek nou hierdie hele ding hier op die arm wat sy gedoen het, maar ek moet kyk die klok. Verstaan jy nou, dis hoe ek het nooit weer teruggegaan. Ek het gedink, nee, wat, dan weet ek nie wat ek kan maak hierso, om hierdie weg te vat. En dis my idee is nou om 'n olifant of 'n leeu nou weer hier in te sit, en in Europa, ek weet nie eintlik wat om te maak. Maar sy het straat afgepak, dat ek weer, dankie, nie weer.
To stifle our true potential. When you begin to look at your life, you can decide.
Jy sien die vrou het nou die notaris se naam op, dat sy ander mense het ook wat ek ook nog doen en sy ook. Sy die ander mense se naam op die enkel. Maar
from doing what I
Yeah,
want to do.
en ek het al van sy werk gesien op
Check
sy
my right say, I'm unstoppable.
Persuasion in anything. So if you want to persuade your
Sy het nog
children,
so blomme en
if you want to
motor
persuade
so
someone
paar
to take a look at your faith, if you want to persuade someone in business, if you want to persuade someone
ek was nou maar
to help
lucky
you
met
in
die-
anything or help them in anything, it's real simple for me. Monster belief. And so you can't transfer to me that which you're not experiencing yourself, right? So you can't give me people are always trying to come up with a magic word, the magic clothes, the magic this. And there are words you shouldn't use in persuasion, no question about it. I think there are words that are more effective than other words. And clearly to be successful in any business, you need to know what those words are in any business. But the best persuaders, the best motivators, the best speakers, the best physicians, the best school teachers, the best parents are incredible persuaders. And what they do is they come from a monster place of conviction and belief that they can transfer you to, because people respond to energy much more than they do words. They respond to what they feel, not what they hear and see. Hear and see are real low-level influencers. Energy, spirit, transfer of energy is what people respond to. And so I'm cognizant all the time of getting in a state of total belief and certainty about what it is that I'm going to represent or speak if I'm speaking on stage about a particular topic, and then transferring that energy into people. And that seems generic or hokey, but it's actually what great persuaders do. In fact, if you're listening to this, you think of anybody that you know who's incredibly
Dit was maar al
persuasive.
vrye hand wat sy my hier op aangegaan het. Want toe die gogga byt met die naam toe wil ek nou net nog hê. En dan dieselfde tyd toe sê ek nee, toe sê maar so op 'n plakkaat daar maar gekyk en as jy ek is ons baie Afrika, ek is maar lief vir Afrika.
Feeling that you're going to be healed, feeling you're in good hands, you feel their certainty, you feel their confidence. Say when you hear a speaker, if you're buying real estate from somebody, but it's not just buying things, it's a great pastor in a church, a great person if you do TM, who's taught you TM, it's their certainty, it's the energy you feel. And so for me, it's always getting to, I have to really believe what I'm saying. I have to really feel it to transfer to.
First of all, we're affected by what we know. Second, we're affected by how we feel about what we know. The emotional part now. This is a major part of the 5 pieces. How I feel. Now, there's a lot of different ways to feel. Here's one. If this is all they pay, I'm not coming early and I'm not staying late on the job. Right? We call that one way to feel. Isn't that a selection process? If this is all they pay, I'm not coming early and I'm not staying late. We call that your choice of attitude. Now, do you think that attitude, if you kept it for the next 5 years, would greatly affect your fortune? The answer is, of course.
Maar sê my, ek gaan mense cover up kan doen op hierdie naam hierso.
The accumulated effect
Alles kan ek
of the selection of your attitude. You can't escape it. So one of the major things to check is, how do I feel? And am I on track or off track with my attitude? Now, attitude's not that easy to fix. It's not that easy to get information. It's hard to look up attitude in the yellow pages. If you could put your car in the shop and go next door and get your attitude fixed, wouldn't that be nice, right? Where do you go?
Ja, ek het regtig, ek het nie geweet waar nie. Ek het gedog miskien agter of nou maar hier voor, dan dink ek ag, wat maar voor. Maar ek wil bitter graag iets met hierdie klok. Hoe was ek sê vir jou, ek weet nie wat om te maak nie, maar ek het vir die vrou gesê nee. Want sy het gesê sy gaan 'n halfsleef doen. Sy sou nou 'n halfsleef gedoen het, net die vrou wat nou die ding gedoen het op my arm. Sy is van dispatch. Maar ek meen, dit was 2000. Dit was 2000.
Everybody has to choose for themselves. Everybody has to decide by education. Now, if you didn't know what the consequences were going to be, it could be very easy to choose the wrong attitude.
Ek gaan nie heljies weer terug
For the right attitude. So a big portion of our life
klok
is
gaan
affected
klaar
by how
maak.
we feel.
Nee, daar's nog nie eens wys as ek koes die sirkels kom sommer toe en die ander. Die bo die rigtingster en daai goeie was nou ek meen dit is eintlik eenvoudig mos. Dit lyk nog het nog reg gelyk toe sy begin het en goeie maar daar.
Instead of let the past instruct you. How to feel about the past hurts and the past losses and the past difficulties and the times you failed and the times it didn't work, the accumulation of all of that. How you feel about that is going to greatly affect your future in your life. One of the major things that affects your life is how you feel about the future. Our life is affected by two major things. One is price and the other is promise. And it's not that easy to pay the price.
Ek meen die lyk is 'n naam ook. Ek het meer so iets soos 'n vas mooi styl gesoek. Toe sien ek my vrou se nou gedoen. Toe lyk dit nou nie te bad nie. Dis is ook ons sommer half amper dieselfde, maar hier toe lyk die ding nog strander as wat my vrou se nou lyk.
If we had the high assured with great probability of how it's going to work out, you think we would hesitate to pay? The answer is no. But everybody hesitates to pay if the future isn't clear. So to help the kids these days, we got
to do for life. Dit is jy kan nie
and let them pay the price.
sê ek vir die vrou nee, want ek het al betaal net vir die wat sy gedoen het. Sy sê as jy nou klaar maak, dan kan jy vir die res betaal. Ek meen dit is al 10 jaar terug, nooit weer terug gegaan nie. Mense so ook met die werk is so besig, was nie in 'n tyd nie.
Hey, I will sweat. I will put
Sê
myself
vir die
through
vrou
the
nee,
paces,
dit is
right?
by
What
volgende
would we do
opsies.
for an extraordinary promise?
Moet cover-ups doen.
The most unbelievable thing. Would you crack the books? Would you burn the midnight oil? Would you engage in the
Ek het nou gat gemaak ook, ek het ook gesê, wat ek nou wil doen is ek wil op een van my boek, wil ek jou naam opsit, maar nou die woord jou naam. Nou as iemand vra wat sit, dan sê ek het hierdie en jou naam, en sê hulle regtig, o Here, maar net vir die grap, man, jou naam, wie gaan nou mos nou op die jolle is, maar net vir die snaaks.
Here's number 3. It's how you feel about each other. It's so important.
Dan moet ek nog dink, hier met die vingers op, ek wil 2 boutjies of skroefies ook nog hier. Wat af is, die vingers wat af is.
Family, enterprise,
Ja,
company, corporation, division. It's so important to have a unique understanding about other human beings and what makes a good life, what constitutes a good life. How you feel about each other. I've got a good phrase for you. You can't succeed by yourself. So to have the unique, refined sense of appreciation for each other is prerequisite. It takes each other to build a society. It takes all of us to build a country, to build a nation. It takes all of us to build a community.
Hoe is die strijd daar
You
zo?
can't succeed by yourself. I gave a speech
Zag er
not
echt
long
mee doen?
ago to the
Zag er echt
Rotary
mee?
Club of Culver City, California. And I was unusually
Ja, is er echt, hè?
affected by the Pledge of Allegiance that day. Big, strong voices. It's a big, strong club. And it was going through my mind the next few days, the Pledge of Allegiance. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, what an important key document. And it's the Pledge of Allegiance.
nee, want as die manne dit sien, dan sê ek, ja, dit was toe ek in die tronk was, het ek dit. Moet ou rings. Spot, man.
Wow, the Pledge of Allegiance is unique. It starts with I and ends with all. The pledge starts with I and ends with all. It takes all of us to make any one of us successful. And the unique, refined appreciation of the all of us is what makes the I of us do much better. That appreciation of society, it takes all of us to make a market. We need each other's ideas and inspiration. And once you have that sense of appreciation of the all of us, now you and your place and your possibilities and your opportunities now start to really soar when you understand how important it is within the framework of the all of us. Where you can't succeed by yourself, hard to find a rich person. Now here's the big biggie. It's how you feel about yourself. That's major. Understanding self-worth is the beginning of progress. How valuable are you? What could you do if you had all the skills? If you took the extra classes and learned the midnight oil, what could you do? What true value could you become? That is one of the better exercises. What could I become in terms of value? What could I really do as a marketplace and enterprise? Family, home, love, experience, marriage, friendship. How valuable could I become? Am I valuable enough to work on what all is still not functioning in my life to full capacity? If I'm operating at 20%, what could I possibly do with the other 80%? And do I have it in knowledge and work and value and experience? Once you start understanding this part of you, understanding how valuable you are, it is a whole new experience, understanding self-worth. So attitude plays big, major part in how our life looks like. The diseases of attitude. It's never that pleasant to talk about the Negative, but we've got to talk about it because life is part negative. These attitude diseases are like weeds that grow in the garden. It's a normal part of life. Here's a good phrase to note. Negative is normal. It's not successful, but it's normal. It's part of life. And here's the next key, in my opinion. You must learn to handle the negative. Don't ignore it. Handle it. Now, I know some people teach the other way. And listen to them. And listen to me. And then make up your mind. Right? Don't be a follower. Be a student. But I say you've got to handle the negative. You don't have to live in it. You don't have to dwell on it. But you do have to handle it. My opinion. I know some people teach. Just turn your head real quick and say, there's no use, there's no use, there's no use. They'll take you, guys. So you've got to handle the negative. Here's a part of it is, it's called the Great War Between Good and Evil. Mr. Reynolds and I are working on a new book this year called The Great War Between Good and Evil. And there is a war on it. The minute you were born, you got involved in the war between good and evil, between darkness and light, between negative and positive, between evil and good, between tyranny and democracy, between weeds and human activity. I mean, the war is on. If democracy sleeps, guess who never sleeps? Tyranny. In the absence of light, guess what's automatic? Darkness. If good does not arouse itself and become active, guess what moves in? Evil. It's a war. A mental war, a physical war, a financial war, between enterprise and ease, between accomplishment and failure. It's a war. That's why there's an Old Testament phrase that gives the best advice for human activity when it says, 6 days labor, 1 day rest. Now, I'm sure we've taken that to mean don't work all 7 days. Take one off. Here's what it also means. Only take one off. Or you're liable to lose the war. Now, we've got it down to 5 and 2. And maybe that's not too dangerous. I don't know. If God would have thought of 5 and 2, he might have made it 5 and 2. I don't. You can't think of anything. But here's what it does mean. Enterprise is better than ease. If you rest too long, the jungle overtakes the village. Now here's the good news about the war between good and evil. Evil is no match for good, but good must be active. Weeds are no match for human activity, but if you stand still, how far in will they come? All the way. They'll grow right up around your feet. But if you get busy, how far back can you take them? As far as you wish. They're no match, but you must be active. That's why the 6 and 1. Make sure you're not losing the war by taking off. Guess what the average years are after retirement? 6. 6. If you don't retire, Somebody asked me one time, what song are you going to need somebody to please. I can. See,
Nee, ik ben goed.
So shake off this disease, indecision. The next one is doubt. Doubt's like a plague. And one of the worst is self-doubt. There are many, but that's one of the worst. The guy doubts himself. Doubts if it'll last that long for him. Doubts if he can do that well. Doubts if he can make that much. Doubts if he can accomplish all that. A chronic, excellent self-doubter. You can imagine what damage that does to your future. So here's the key. Turn this coin over and become a believer. And there's many things to believe in. One of the majors is yourself. The understanding of self-worth is the beginning of progress. Now, close three don't get you this one, Will. Worry. That's a devastating disease. Worry. Worry causes health problems, social problems, personal problems, family problems. It's devastating. Worry long enough it'll drop you to your knees. Could reduce you to begging. I know how bad this one is. I used to have it bad. I used to be known as a super worrier. Not a super warrior. No, super warrior. My family wished I'd have been a warrior. I got those years to make up for it. But I'll tell you what. My advice to you is do what I finally did on worry. Give it up. Who needs it? I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's worth. It took me almost 1 year to kick the worry habit, and it was not an easy year. It was one of the toughest years I ever spent, but I finally got that monkey off my back. And I discovered you could live the most incredible life free of worry. Not free of challenge, not free of difficulty, free of worry. I learned how to do it, and you can. Here's the next attitude disease. Over-caution. Some people never will have much. They're too cautious. Now, you can also be too reckless, but you can also be too cautious. This is called the timid approach to life. And my caution was always the risk. Risk used to drive me right up the wall. I used to say, what if this happens? It's called the language of the poor. What if this happened? And on top of that, if this was to happen, look at the fix idea, and I better not try. I could always age myself out. Then I'll tell you what changed my whole life when I finally discovered it's all risky. The minute you were born, it's not risky. If you think trying is risky, wait till they hand you the bill for not trying. If you think investing is risky, wait till you get the tab for not investing. See, it's all risky. Getting married is risky. Having children is risky. Going into business is risky. Investing your money is risky. It's all risky. I'll tell you how risky life is. You're not going to get out alive. That's risky.
risky.
Wannabe indeed.
Right, that's what it's for. Give it a go.
Ja, je zit nog binnen af.
Ja, dat is ook maar je gaat worden, met zo'n complimenten krijgen we die.
En terus tinggal squeal beri, bukan lagi tara semua.
Daar ga je ook nog werk aan zijn naam toemaken. Ja, maar ik kom neer zien en ik op een andere plek dan.
30 ask for adventure. Better to live 30 years full of adventure than 100 years safe in the corner. And see, it's not important how long you live. What's important is how you live. Here's the next attitude disease. We're almost through with this motley list. In fact, we're almost through. Hang on. The next one is pessimism.
Maar wat snaaks is mense, jy weet dat dit toe het ook gaan vir van, waar kan jy hom met so? Nog nooit iemand het nog ooit my gekom vra. Maar ek kan jou garandeer dat vir my sê hier.
He doesn't try to figure out what's right. He tries to figure out what's wrong. He doesn't look for virtue. He looks for fault. And when he finds it, he's delighted. How ugly. This is the poor guy who looks through the window, doesn't see the sunset. He sees the specks on the window. And this is the poor guy, right, who rushes up, takes such leave of his senses. This guy rushes up and he says, I've got 5 good reasons why it won't work. He's so dumb, he doesn't know. All he needs one. He's got 5. To the pessimist, the glass is always half empty. To the optimist, the glass is half full. Why would the same measure affect people 2 different ways? Answer: it all depends on how you look at it. Our lives are mostly affected by the way we think things are, not the way they are. The way we think they are affects us most. There's a subject we don't have time to get into tonight called better thinking habits. One of the major things Phil taught me when I met him, he said, poor thinking habits keep most people poor. Not poor working hard. Most people work hard, but they don't think hard. And Phil taught me that the mind is like a factory, a mental factory. And whatever you think about all day long pours ingredients into this mental factory. And that's what builds the economic, social, financial fabric of your life. He quoted me a Bible phrase that says, as you think, so you become. So, when he talked about poor thinking habits, he had me. I used to start the day reading the morning newspaper. I mean, you can believe that or not. I'd get a cup of coffee and read the paper. I'd load up on wars and riots and murders and stabbings and killings and bank robberies and monkeys and pirates and tragedies. I'd even read the back pages. I seem to like that stuff for some weird reason. I'd load up on all that, and then I'd start the day. You can imagine the kind of days I used to have. You walk around on your financial needs. They call you economic theory. The guy says, I want to be a great leader. Wonderful. The first thing we do is follow him to his house. When we get there, we walk in and check his library, number 1. Somebody says, why check his library? The reason is because what a man reads pours massive ingredients into his mental factory, and the fabric of his life is built from those ingredients. You would not believe what some people have got in their house to read. You would not believe. One of the best dressed up words I know for a lot of it is trash. Can you imagine dumping a barrel of trash into this mental factory every day and coming out with a rich, dynamic, positive life? It can't be done. You might as well try making a cake with cement. The kids back in Danbury, Connecticut, high school, they're asking me questions one day. I'm talking to the kids. Kids got good questions. One of them said to me, Mr. Owens, how do you build the good life? I said, Everything starts with Eden.
Zé, lekker veel?
Beetje naar onder, hoor.
Onder is weer.
Want ja, definitief.
Eigenlijk tomato.
Resten.
Nee, definitief niet. Dan wil ik mijn arm op.
Nee, eigenlijk.
Maar zeg mij, is het enige design zal ik kan toemaken hier, nee?
Nee, maar naam.
Ja, nee.
Met die naam. Met die naam voor het in.
Nee, dat zullen je zo. Je doet op een andere plek zetten.
Andere plek maar raden. Wat ja, je zou.
Dat is de mission. Zoals daar aan het
Ja, ik wil nog Thailand is nog een andere baby. Zij moet ook nou nog opkomen. Maar ik wil hier, die toppelijk tenminste ook. Dan kan je nog maar hier in Afrika iets draaien binnenin of iets. Of weet je, die olifant of iets, een leeuw gaan een beetje moeilijk zitten. Of niet raar.
Ja, dit.
Nee, ja.
Ja, dan is het een weg door veel.
Ik kan je garanderen, mijn vrouw gaat een beetje upset wees. Want zij gaan een beetje naar Afrika wees met die ene. Hier op een enkel is ook niet bad voor doen, maar dat is ook maar een ander skrift daar. Maar
Als je hem zo.
zijn hoor is zo. Ach, duizenden dankjes man. Dat wordt
Wat soort
weer.
ja, bij jou.
Ik zie ik zal geen contact blijven. Wat die het wordt.
Dit tijd mee maand.
Zeg, hoe gaan wij kom je van Paulus vliegen? Dan weer terug gaan naar Paulus vliegen.
Ja.
Ja, ik zeg van de ooit nog weer 100 eten van ik kan het niet zeggen voor de
Dat deed toen nog niet.
Nee, de 100 eten gekomen.
Dat is heel rustig.
Ja, zo nou je, dan zit ik die meisje, andere meisjes in haar mond.
Ja.
En dan je ziet hem die weg aan de.
Dat is net om hij was een staande plek. Ik heb net heftig van die oor af. Maar ik zie hem als ons lijkt, maar dat is altijd over de week als het appie maar. Nog nooit, 14 jaar, ik nog nooit iemand gehoord. Maar spreek, dat is wat ik zeg, maar ja, maar ik kan wel
Doe nou eens één compliment die ik had. Zie man.
Nee, op Tara gaan we definitief.
Wat is nog wel hier, nooit afdelen?
Nee, zo.
Als de rest zo zeggen, hè.
Dat vind ik nou niet prachtig.
En die laatste doen kijk hoe veel we zijn.
Mooi dit.
Nee, man kent zijn story.
Toen mijn Franse bond zijn ook zien. Ja.
Je kent me ze gewoon.
Hierdie man weer, zie je weer?
Je kent me ze gewoon, zeg.
Hoe zijn dat zo pas? Ze zijn een beetje scherp.
Develop these 5 abilities as part of your personal quest. I call them 5 abilities. There's the first one. Develop
Ah, zo.
Ze is zo mooi dat veel net.
it up like you're doing today. Be like a sponge. Don't miss anything. And not just the words. It's true. Don't miss the words, but don't miss the atmosphere. Don't miss the color. Don't miss the scenario. Don't miss what's going on.
Alam mo yun,
Cynthia Savage, hello. Good day. Wat is het?
siguro siya hindi pa 14 jaar lang nooit gevraagd wie dat is. Ik zal ook maar zeggen, ze niet dronk, joh.
Deze compleet benzine.
En je hoort aan, dat je doen zomaar vrije aan de spits, joh.
Weet je, als ik hem aan de aardes aan om me denken, je ziet een video waar iemand het doet zien. Nou moet zeggen, kijk een teken, doen ze het ook vrij. En zo doen, draai je het vrij en doen. Als je zelf zo stekend hebt.
Als je zou doen,
It's got this extraordinary gift.
van jij kent definitief teken.
Harry doesn't miss anything. Here's a good phrase for you that got down.
Maar je vat nog steeds jij kan.
Be there. Be there to store with that. Be there to soak with that. Take pictures of things. Take pictures of your mind. Let your soul and heart take pictures. Get it. Capture it. Absorb it. Such an important ability to develop. The ability to get it. Don't miss it. Don't be casual in getting it. Keep it casual and be second. Learn to respond. The ability to respond means let life touch you. Don't let it kill you. Don't let it touch you. Let sad things make you sad. Let happy things make you happy. I'm going to give in to the emotions. Not just the words, not just the dreams, not the feelings. Let the emotions touch you. Here's what's important. Our emotions need to be registered in the thing. Our emotions need to be registered in the thing. It's important to know how to feel. It's important to know how to respond. It's important to let life in. Let it touch you. I'm the greatest guy in the world. Take me to movies. I get into a good movie. I want a good movie. Make me laugh, make me cry. Scare me to death. Teach me something. Take me high, take me low. Just don't leave me as I was when I came in. Touch me. Do something to me. Beginning only lasts so long. If you begin that first week and then you don't continue, yes, you'll be inspired by deciding and planning and beginning. But all of that now will start to fade away if you don't do number 4. One of the great sources of inspiration is progression. Once you've gotten started, now you proceed, you progress. Now you go to class the second week, you go to class the third week. But it's not only progressing in terms of time, it's progressing in terms of what you're learning, progressing in terms of getting the information that you hadn't discovered before. Now,
Saya pernah ada giant saya. Ik denk dat je het wat zei, ik denk niet dat een giant saya dat ze het zijn zoetalen. Hij draait zo lang berada ini.
Oh, wat zo'n Frani.
Hah?
Frani.
Frani.
Rijvan Frani. Giant.
Ik ken zijn naam giant. Ik ken niet een naam van hem. Zijn naam Frani.
Pambat Rhino.
Pengen zoetalen babi. Di sini man.
Wah.
Wala keserut. Nice.
Ja, ik dan nu praten weer een Jeffrey.
Iya.
En beras naam abi ons Giant.
Apa sana? Je beri point, beri point. Ik ben hier zo wakker.
Riet. Ja, dat kan je zo'n doof wie was er allemaal op en zo klomp. Gewoon dit round table gezet.
Jo. Asfal apa?
Jo, dat weet je man net ingaan.
Ini ni waktu di lea nobi. Karena ini ian sekarang gua rasa. So je dit dingetje gekap hè?
Wat is
Abdullah.
nog nie.
Ik wil die goed gerookt.
Hij was nou net bij Rockstens na.
Lekker rijk.
Die tijd toe ik uit die goedheid gaan, dus die tijd toe tikkelen inkom.
Ja.
Ja, dan ik zo zeker gevat het.
Je zoekt gevaar.
Ja, ik was zo saai mee bro, lijkt erop. En ik was zo saai zoals je nou zei, je moet niet met man goed te nemen. Als ons rook en rook is maar nog, ja.
Dat is ik heb zomaar wat zeggen, vrouw. Kijk hier, zal ik hem maar altijd meer rug, zeker zondag. Maar ik zie zomaar vandaag voor zulke zondag.
Ja, je hebt die toen zo'n rook en rook is nog recht. Wat wil je nou nog? Kom langer dan maar.
Spiel das nog rabbi. Top.
Själven zijn beste vrienden.
Ja?
Själven zijn beste vrienden.
Ja, dat zit.
Själven een malwar uit.
Ja, dat zit in de
Dat komt van laarschool af samen.
Ja, dat is natuurlijk poos, ja.
Hij heeft maar jetzt vrijdag airport ook.
Top hoor.